A month before the college entrance examination. The old warehouse next to the teaching building caught fire. Thick smoke billowing. My arch-rival Zhao Feng grabbed my arm. His eyes bloodshot as he yelled. Lin Mo. You saw it. You saw Bai Wei trapped inside. Why didn't you save her? I coldly shook off his hand, looking at his face twisted with anger, and said word by word, why should I save her? Are you even human? He slammed his fist against the wall, veins bulging. I looked at him and suddenly laughed, laughing so hard that tears nearly came out. Yes. In my last life, I was just too human. I rushed into the burning building, risking my life to drag Bai Wei out. And what was the result? I missed the college entrance exam, suffered permanent lung damage, and was left with grotesque scars on my arm. One of them entered a prestigious university with endless glory, while the other married into wealth and enjoyed serene days. They said I was clumsy in saving people, causing Bai Wei to suffer unnecessarily. In this lifetime. To hell with kindness. This time, I choose to be an observer. The first step to reclaim everything that belongs to me is to step through the gates of Tsinghua and Peking University. The flames soared into the sky, lighting up the evening sky as if it were hell. The acrid smell of burnt material mixed with screams exploded in my ears. Help! There are still people inside. Bai Wei is still inside. I stood at the edge of the chaotic crowd, clutching the last set of practice papers I had just purchased from the bookstore. My mortal enemy, the school bully Zhao Feng, was like a crazed bull, being held back by someone. His eyes were bloodshot, fixated on the wooden door engulfed in flames, desperately shouting the name of his beloved. Bai Wei, the school beauty, was currently trapped in the blaze. Everyone was frantic, some calling the fire department, others holding fire extinguishers trying to rush in. But the flames were too intense to get close. At that moment, Zhao Feng's gaze pierced through the crowd, locking onto me standing under the tree. He suddenly broke free from his restraints, taking a few steps to stand in front of me, grabbing my collar with such force that he nearly lifted me off the ground. Lin Mo, you were just around here. You definitely saw Bai Wei go in. Why didn't you stop her? Why didn't you save her? His spit sprayed across my face, and the fire of rage in his eyes was more searing than the blaze of the warehouse behind us. I didn't struggle, not even showing a hint of emotion. In my past life, it was these hands that received a slap from him after I dragged his beloved Bai Wei out of the fire. He scolded me. Why are you so useless? If you had gone in earlier, nothing would have happened. Look at how badly Bai Wei is choking. At that moment, half of my body was burned to a bloody mess, and I couldn't even speak. Memories flooded back like a tide, bringing with them searing pain and bone-deep cold. I slowly lifted my eyes to meet his furious gaze, calmly and clearly uttering 3 words. I saw it. Zhao Feng was stunned, seemingly not expecting me to admit it so straightforwardly. I looked at him, the corners of my mouth curving into a faint, almost cruel arc. I also saw that she went in to get the limited edition sneakers you gave her, to risk her life for a pair of shoes. Tell me, isn't that foolish? You. Zhao Feng's face instantly turned a deep shade of liver, his raised fist freezing in midair. As reason and rage battled fiercely within him, the surrounding crowd cast various looks at me because of my words: shock, disdain, confusion. How can you be so cold-blooded? That was a human life. Exactly. Lin Mo, you usually seem so gentle. How could your heart be so cruel? To stand by and do nothing while someone dies is terrifying. These voices began to overlap with the accusations from my previous life, where they blamed me for being inefficient in saving people. I shook off Zhao Feng's hand, and he instinctively loosened his grip in shock. I straightened my wrinkled collar that he had grasped, my gaze sweeping over the just faces around me. My voice was not loud, yet it was clear enough for everyone to hear. The firefighters will be here soon. The most professional rescue personnel will save her. And I paused, raising the simulation paper in my hand. I still need to go home and study. After all, there are only 30 days left until the college entrance examination. After saying that, I ignored the piercing gazes behind me, turned around, and step by step, walked firmly into the night. The siren of the fire truck grew louder as it approached, piercing the night sky. I knew that Bai Wei would not die. In her previous life, she didn't die either. She only had some damage to her lungs. But soon she was sent to the best hospital by her wealthy parents and was treated successfully. And I, the hero who saved her, was coughing up blood in a cheap rental, suffering from severe burns and aftereffects, watching her and Zhao Feng being interviewed on television. A perfect couple. A match made in heaven. In this lifetime, there will no longer be the foolish supporting character Lin Mo in your script. I will write my own future. The moment I stepped into the classroom the next day, the entire class 3-1 fell silent. Dozens of eyes were fixed on me, as if they were looking at a monster. My seat was at the window in the last row, and to get there, I had to walk across most of the classroom. Along the way, I could clearly hear the whispers that couldn't be contained. That's her. She watched Bai Wei get trapped in the fire yesterday and ran away. Too heartless. And she's still the class leader. I heard Bai Wei is still in the intensive care unit. Her lung burns are very serious, and she might have lasting issues in the future. Zhao Feng had swollen eyes this morning. He must have kept watch all night. How pitiful. With a blank expression, I walked to my seat and then stopped in my tracks. On my desk, in red paint, 2 large characters are scrawled in a crooked manner. Murderer. The desk drawer is stuffed with trash. Books are torn to shreds, and mixed in with various snack wrappers. The instigator is sitting right in front of me. Zhao Feng turned his head, surrounded by a group of little followers, provocatively looking at me, the red veins in his eyes making him appear even more ferocious. What's wrong? A murderer. Still have the face to learn. He curled his lips, revealing a set of white teeth. His smile filled with malice. The entire class watched this scene in silence, most with satisfaction in their eyes, while a few others looked on with sympathy. Yet none dared to speak. In my past life, I experienced such bullying as well. At that time, I was weak and timid, only able to cry and report to the teacher. But what I received in return was Zhao Feng's even harsher retaliation. But now, I'm no longer the Lin Mo who can only cry. I placed my backpack on the empty seat beside me, then reached out and swept everything on my desk down to the floor. Piece by piece, there was a clattering sound. Then, I walked up to Zhao Feng and looked down at him from above. Was it you? I asked. Zhao Feng was taken aback for a moment, clearly not expecting this reaction from me. He scoffed, crossing one leg over the other. So what if it was? I just want to make sure you can't stay in the 3rd school. Very well. I nodded. And then, amidst his and everyone else's astonished gazes, I suddenly grabbed the ink bottle from his desk. It was a freshly opened bottle of Hero brand blue-black ink. I twisted the cap off and, before Zhao Feng could react, slowly poured the entire bottle of ink over his head. Let it flow without a drop spared. The dark blue-black liquid streamed down his dyed yellow hair, coursing across his astonished face, spilling over the collar of his branded t-shirt, and creating a shocking stain on his chest. Ah! Zhao Feng let out a piercing scream and suddenly sprang up from his seat. The classmates around us were also stunned, and the classroom was dead silent. Only the sound of ink dripping onto the floor could be heard. Lin Mo, are you crazy? Zhao Feng wiped his face, looking at his hands stained with dark blue, trembling with anger. A few of his lackeys behind him also reacted, immediately surrounding me, each one looking fierce and intimidating. I casually tossed the empty ink bottle onto the ground, producing a crisp sound. I met Zhao Feng's murderous gaze, my voice icy. First, I'm not the killer. I didn't start the fire. And legally, I have no duty to rescue. If your brain isn't functioning properly, you can go back and read the legal texts. Second, dirtying my desk and tearing my book is the price you pay. Next time, it won't be as simple as a bottle of ink. Third, my eyes scanned the eager followers before returning to Zhao Feng. Bai Wei lying in the hospital is not your reason to bully me. If you have guts, rush into the fire to accompany her right now. Strutting around here. What kind of man does that make you? My words were like knives, precisely stabbing into Zhao Feng's lungs. He cared most about his pride, about the so-called brotherhood and manly responsibility. And my words had undoubtedly stripped him bare in front of the whole class. His face turned a mix of red and white, pointing at me with you for a long time. But not a single word came out. Just you wait. Lin Mo. I'm not done with you. He spat out a harsh line and awkwardly rushed out of the classroom, probably to deal with that beautiful disaster of his. The classmates exchanged glances, then slinked out after him. The classroom remained quiet, but everyone's gaze had changed. From disdain and schadenfreude, it transformed into shock and a hint of fear. I ignored them and silently returned to my seat, taking out a pack of wet wipes from my bag and starting to clean the 2 glaring red words on the desk. The paint was hard to wipe off, but I scrubbed at it vigorously and with great earnestness. I know, this is just the beginning. What I lost in my last life, dignity, future, life. In this life, I will take it all back, piece by piece, with my own hands. No one can bully me anymore. God blocks. I kill God. Buddha blocks. I kill Buddha. Mr. Chen, the class teacher, soon arrived. He was a middle-aged man in his 50s, wearing glasses and slightly balding, who often preached the value of harmony above all. He called me into the office, where Zhao Feng and his parents were already waiting. Zhao Feng had changed his clothes, but traces of dark blue-black still remained in his hair. And his expression was so gloomy it seemed like it could drip water. His father, Zhao Jiangwo, was a construction contractor with a prominent beer belly and a big gold chain. The moment he saw me, he pointed a finger at my nose and yelled, "You little slut! How dare you? Do you know who I am?" His mother, meanwhile, was wiping her tears and sobbing. My son has never suffered this kind of humiliation. How are we supposed to face others in the future? Teacher Chen, your school needs to give us an explanation. She must be expelled. Teacher Chen looked troubled, adjusted his glasses, and said to me, "Lin Mo, how could you be so impulsive? Classmate Zhao Feng did something wrong. But you can't solve problems like this." As I looked at this family's ugly display of theatrics, I couldn't help but let out a cold smile inside. In my last life, it was also in this office that Zhao Feng deliberately pushed me down the stairs because I scored higher than him in the exam, causing me to injure my arm. At that time, his parents had the same attitude, saying, "It's normal for kids to play around and fight a little. Our Zhao Feng didn't do it on purpose. Besides, you're a girl. Why study so hard? Aren't you just going to get married in the future anyway?" Teacher Chen also acted as a peacemaker at that time, saying, "Lin Mo, Zhao Feng already knows he was wrong. Just forgive him. We're all classmates and should stick together." In the end, the matter was left unresolved. I, with my plaster cast, completed that midterm exam all alone. The same scene, the same people, but this time, I will not be slaughtered any longer. I did not look at Teacher Chen, but instead stared directly at Zhao Jiangwo and calmly said, "Mr. Zhao, please speak with a bit more respect. Your son was the one who first destroyed my personal property and personally attacked me. I was only acting in self-defense." "Self-defense? You call pouring a bottle of ink on my son's head self-defense?" Zhao Feng's mother screamed. "Right." I nodded, looking at Zhao Feng. He wrote the words "murderer" on my desk, committing personal insults and defamation against me. According to the law, this is a serious offense that could lead to imprisonment. I merely wanted him to experience what an indelible stain feels like. And I've already shown great restraint. My words instantly silenced the office. Zhao Jiangwo and his wife were both dumbfounded, clearly not expecting a high school student to use terms like defamation and imprisonment. Teacher Chen also stumbled a bit, adjusting his glasses. "Lin Mo, let's not get too excited. We're not discussing the law right now. The main issue is that your behavior is having a very negative impact, not a good influence." I laughed. "Teacher Chen, you must have heard about the fire yesterday. Now the whole school is saying I'm a cold-blooded murderer. Is that a good influence? Zhao Feng is openly bullying me in class. Is that a good influence? As the class teacher, where were you when I was isolated by the whole class? And my desk was written on with insulting words. And now you come to me saying my retaliation has a bad influence. My series of rhetorical questions made Teacher Chen's face flush bright red. His mouth opened. But he couldn't utter a single word. The atmosphere in the office became extremely oppressive. Zhao Zhengwo was probably used to being overbearing. Seeing that he couldn't reason with me, he directly resorted to being a rogue. He slammed the table and shouted. I don't care about all your grand theories. Today, either you kneel down and apologize to my son, or get the hell out of Sanzhong. I'm telling you, this matter isn't over. I know Director Li from the Education Bureau. Here we go again. The same old routine. Using power to oppress others. In my past life, I was afraid, because there was no one behind me. But in this life, my biggest trump card is myself. I ignored his bluster and took out a voice recorder from my backpack, pressing the play button. In the office, the arrogant threat from Zhao Zhengwo echoed immediately. I know Director Li from the Education Bureau. The voice was crystal clear. Zhao Zhengwo and his wife's expressions changed in an instant. You recorded it. Zhao Feng's mother pointed at me, her voice trembling. Just in case. I turned off the recorder and put it back in my backpack. Mr. Zhao, you just said you know Director Li. Right. Coincidentally, I have evidence of your son bullying classmates at school, as well as recordings of you threatening and intimidating underage students. I think, if I hand these things over to the media, or directly post them online, the title would be Contractor's Son Runs Rampant in School. His father claims to know the Education Bureau director. What do you think? Would Director Li still acknowledge you? You dare? Zhao Zhengwo trembled with rage, the flesh on his face quivering. Look at me and see if I dare. I met his gaze, unafraid. I knew that this kind of person is a bully, afraid of strength. The more you back down, the more he will push his luck. Only by being tougher and harder than him will he truly be afraid. The office fell into an eerie silence. Teacher Chen was covered in cold sweat, glancing at me, then at Zhao Zhengwo. Completely at a loss for what to do, Zhao Zhengwo stared at me intensely, his eyes burning with rage. After a long while, he squeezed out a sentence through clenched teeth. Fine. You're tough enough. We're leaving. With that, he dragged his wife, who still wanted to say something, and the reluctant Zhao Feng, slamming the door behind them. The door slammed shut with a loud bang, causing the windows to buzz with the impact. In the office, it was just me and Teacher Chen, who had a dazed expression on his face. He looked at me, his eyes filled with complexity shock, confusion, and a hint of wariness. Lin Mo. You. I didn't wait for him to finish speaking before I calmly interjected. Teacher Chen, can I go back to class now? The monthly test is coming up soon. He was taken aback for a moment, then finally weakly waved his hand. Go ahead. I nodded, turned around, and walked out of the office. The sunlight in the corridor was bright, making my eyes feel a bit sore. I know I won the first round, but the Zhao family won't let it go easily. A bigger storm is yet to come, and I am already prepared. The Zhao family's revenge came faster and more insidious than I had imagined. They no longer directly troubled me but directed their hostility towards my parents. My dad is a technician at a state-owned textile factory in the city, and my mom works at the neighborhood office. They are both ordinary wage earners who have worked diligently and lived quietly all their lives. That day, when I came home from evening study, I walked in to see my parents sitting on the couch, their faces serious. And the atmosphere in the house was so oppressive that it was hard to breathe. On the coffee table lay a notice. My dad has been suspended. The reason is a serious mistake during work that caused a batch of fabric on the production line to be discarded, and he needs to be suspended for reflection while awaiting further action. The leaders at my mom's workplace also spoke with her, hinting that there were issues with her family upbringing, telling her to properly discipline her daughter and not bring shame to the unit. Is it that Zhao family who did this? My mom asked my dad with red-rimmed eyes. My dad smoked silently, and in the swirling smoke, his brow was furrowed into a knot. He had always been diligent throughout his life, never making a single mistake. And this serious error came as a strange and sudden shock. Everyone with clear eyes knew what was going on. Lin Mo. My dad crushed the cigarette butt, looked up at me. His voice hoarse. Tell me the truth. What exactly happened on the day of the fire? Did you really stand by and do nothing while others were in danger? I looked at his bloodshot eyes and my mother's worried, haggard face. And my heart ached as if it were being pricked by needles. This was the situation I least wanted to see. In my past life. To save Bai Wei, I not only destroyed myself but also brought shame to my parents in front of relatives and neighbors. They worried themselves sick over me, turning gray overnight. In this life, I thought that as long as I got into a good university, I could help them hold their heads up high. But I never expected that the Zhao family's reach could be so long and swift. I took a deep breath, walked in front of them, and sat down. Mom. Dad. I'm sorry for worrying you. My mother immediately burst into tears, grabbing my hand and saying, "Silly child. We're not angry with you. We're just scared for your safety. That Zhao family looks like trouble. We can't take them on." Mom. Let me explain. I interrupted her. My gaze steady. On the day of the fire, I did see Bai Wei, but I didn't save her because I knew I couldn't. The flames were too intense. Rushing in would have meant certain death. Besides, the fire truck was on its way. And I trust the professional rescue teams. I didn't mention the matter of reincarnation. It's too unbelievable and would only make them more worried. I could only explain in a way they would understand. As for what happened at school, it was Zhao Feng who bullied me first. And I only retaliated. I did nothing wrong. My dad looked at me, staring for a long time. Long enough that I thought he was going to explode in anger. But in the end, he merely let out a long sigh and said, "Your dad is useless, can't protect you, and still has to let you suffer like this." Dad. I interrupted him, my nose tingling, and tears almost fell. Don't say that. I will handle this matter. How are you going to solve it? You're still a child. My mom said, agitated. I have my ways. I looked at them and said word by word, "Dad, do you believe in me?" My dad looked into my clear and determined eyes, where there was not a trace of retreat or fear. It was as if he saw a completely unfamiliar daughter. Calm. Strong. And with a hint of sharpness that he couldn't understand. He was silent for a moment, and finally nodded. "Dad believes in you, but you cannot do anything illegal." "I won't." I gave them a reassuring smile. "Dad. Just go to work as usual tomorrow. Say that you found the reason for that mistake. It's due to machine aging. Not your fault. Submit this technical report with a firmer attitude. They won't really dare to do anything to you. At most, they'll deduct some bonuses." I turned to my mom again. "Mom, if the leaders at your unit come looking for you, just cry and say that our family is being bullied by wealthy and powerful people to the point we can't survive. That I'm just a girl being cornered by bullies at school every day. And I'm on the verge of depression. The more miserable you sound, the less they will dare to touch you, and they might even feel pity for you." My parents were stunned, staring at me as if they didn't recognize me. What I was teaching them were the survival rules in the adult world that they looked down upon but were the most effective. To deal with a rogue, one must use means even more rogue than the rogue itself. To confront the system, one must use the rules of the system. All of this, I learned from my past life, crawling through the bottom of society, gaining these lessons with blood and tears. Mo. You. My mother hesitated to continue. "Dad. Mom. Just believe me and cooperate with me. The rest, leave it to me." I stood up, picked up the suspension notice on the table, walked to the kitchen, and turned on the gas stove. The blue flames licked at the paper, soon turning it to ashes. I watched the flickering flames. Reflecting in my eyes was a cold resolution. "Zhao Jiangwo. Bai Wei's family. Do you think you can force me to submit with these petty tactics? You underestimate me too much. You underestimate just how much power someone can have after climbing back from hell. This game has just begun. The next day, I did something that took everyone by surprise. I didn't go to find the Zhao family's theory, nor did I file a complaint with the Education Bureau. Instead, I went directly to the largest hospital in the city. Bai Wei was staying in the special care ward here. When I arrived, Bai Wei's mother, a lady dressed in a Chanel suit with exquisite makeup, was holding a bowl of bird's nest soup, preparing to feed it to Bai Wei, who was lying in the hospital bed. Bai Wei's face was pale, and part of her hair had been shaved off due to burns, wrapped in bandages. She indeed looked quite pitiful. She saw me, first taken aback. Then a flicker of terror and resentment crossed her eyes. "Why are you here?" Bai Wei's mother, Lu Yufang, immediately stood up, like a hen protecting its chicks, blocking Bai Wei and scolding loudly. "Who let you in? Get out." I ignored her shouting, simply placing the fruit basket I was holding on the bedside table, then pulled over a chair and sat down nonchalantly. "Aunt Bai, no need to be so angry," I said with a smile. "I came to see a classmate. Is there a problem? Look at your classmate. The weasel is wishing the chicken a happy new year, with no good intentions." Lu Yufang looked at me with disdain. "Our Weiwei was harmed by heartless people like you. How dare you show your face here?" On the hospital bed, Bai Wei weakly spoke, her voice tinged with tears. "Mom. Let her go. I don't want to see her. I'm scared." As she spoke, she timidly glanced at me, tears welling up as if summoned, her acting rivaling that of an award-winning actress. In my past life, I was tricked by her pitiful appearance, thinking she was truly an innocent and kind girl. I looked at her and suddenly laughed. "Bai Wei, what are you afraid of?" "Afraid that I'll reveal the truth about why you were in the warehouse that day." My words caused Bai Wei's cries to abruptly stop. Her pupils dilated as she looked at me in panic. Lu Yufang was also taken aback. "What do you mean?" Wei Wei went to the warehouse not to retrieve something she forgot. "Forgotten things." I raised an eyebrow. "Yes. It's forgotten things. Forgotten are the limited edition AJ sneakers worth 5,000 yuan that Zhao Feng gave her, to rush into a burning building for a pair of shoes. This love is truly earth-shattering." You're talking nonsense." Bai Wei's face turned pale in an instant, her voice trembling. "I'm talking nonsense." I took my phone out of my pocket and opened a video. In the video, just minutes before the fire broke out, there was a blind spot from a surveillance camera near the warehouse, which I specifically asked the nearby shop owners for yesterday. The picture was a bit blurry, but it was still clear enough to see that Bai Wei and Zhao Feng were arguing. Zhao Feng threw a shoe box on the ground, seemed to say something, and then stormed off angrily. Bai Wei picked up the shoe box, hesitated for a moment, and finally walked into the old warehouse next door. "This is..." Lu Yufang looked at the video. Her expression changed as well. "This is the surveillance footage from 5 minutes before the fire." I put away my phone and said slowly, "Bai Wei, you had a fight with Zhao Feng. He threw away your most treasured shoes, and out of spite, you intentionally didn't pick them up. After he left, you regretted it and wanted to go back for them, only to find that the warehouse door had been blown shut by the wind. Then the fire happened. Am I right?" Bai Wei's lips trembled, and she couldn't say a word. She never expected that I would know all the details of the little secret between her and Zhao Feng. Lu Yufang's expression turned extremely ugly. She had always thought her daughter was a good girl, and that the fire was just an accident, with her own daughter as an innocent victim. It seems that things are not as they appear. Even if it's just for a pair of shoes, that's still a life. It's wrong not to save someone in danger. Lu Yufang was still being obstinate. "Aunt, I'm not here to discuss right or wrong with you today." I stood up and looked down at her. "I'm here to propose a deal." "Deal?" Lu Yufang looked at me cautiously. "Exactly." I nodded, my gaze shifting to Bai Wei on the hospital bed. "Tell the Zhao family to stop suppressing my parents. Otherwise, this video, along with the touching story of Bai Wei rushing into the fire for a pair of sneakers, will appear on everyone's phones at Sanzhong tomorrow." And maybe even trend in our city. Are you daring to threaten me? Lu Yufeng's eyes widened. This isn't a threat. It's a negotiation. I smiled. But my tone was icy cold. Bai Wei is a public figure. The school beauty. After all, she values her reputation above all. If everyone finds out that she nearly lost her life for a pair of shoes, causing injuries to firefighters and leading to cyberbullying of her classmates, what do you think will happen to her image as the perfect victim? By then, the one to garner sympathy won't be her. It will be me, the cold-blooded bad girl who was driven to a dead end, with my parents suspended and myself bullied. Every word I spoke felt like a heavy hammer, striking fiercely at Lu Yufeng and Bai Wei's hearts. Their expressions shifted from anger to shock, and then to panic. Bai Wei bit her lip tightly, her body trembling slightly. She knew that if I truly went through with it, it would all be over for her. Lu Yufeng stared at me intently. This girl, who was nothing more than a poor student in her eyes, now made her feel an unprecedented sense of pressure and fear. She finally understood that the girl before her was not a soft persimmon that she could manipulate at will. This was a wolf in sheep's clothing. What do you want? After a long while, Lu Yufeng finally admitted defeat. Her voice dry as she asked. I smiled. I know I bet right. For someone like her, who values face over life, reputation is her greatest weakness. It's simple. I put away my smile and said word by word. Let Zhao Zhengwo personally apologize to my dad's workplace and restore my dad's position. Make Xiao Feng apologize to me publicly in front of all the teachers and students at school. Impossible. Bai Wei screamed. Let Xiao Feng apologize to you. In your dreams. Whether you dream or not is not up to you. I shot her a cold glance. Aunt Lu, my patience is limited. I'll give you a day to think it over. Tomorrow morning, if I don't see the results I want, you'll have to face the consequences. Having said that, I no longer looked at them and turned to walk out of the ward. At the moment I closed the door, I heard Lu Yufeng suppressing her anger with curses and Bai Wei's anguished cries from inside. I leaned against the cold wall and let out a long sigh. The palms of my hands are already drenched in cold sweat. In fact, I don't have complete confidence. I'm just taking a gamble, betting that they care more about their reputation and future. It seems I've won. Zhao Zhengwo, Zhao Feng, your good days are over. Lu Yufeng's efficiency is very high. Or rather, she has been grasped at her weak point and dares not be aloof. Early the next morning, my dad received a call from the factory manager, asking him to return to work immediately. On the phone, the manager's tone was polite to the point of flattery, saying that everything before was a misunderstanding, that the factory had already clarified it was a machine issue, unrelated to him, and he even said they would compensate him with a bonus as a form of psychological redress. My dad hung up the phone, unable to snap back to reality for a while, looking at me with a gaze as complicated as if he were looking at an alien. Meanwhile, a more dramatic scene unfolded at school. During morning exercises, all the teachers and students gathered on the playground. Just after the flag-raising ceremony, the head of the educational department suddenly took the microphone and stepped up to the podium to announce something. Next, let's welcome Zhao Feng from class 1 of the senior year to come on stage and give his reflection. As soon as the words fell, the entire playground erupted in an uproar. Zhao Feng, that unruly school bully, giving a reflection, in front of all the teachers and students in the school. Everyone thought they had misheard. Under the gaze of thousands of eyes, Zhao Feng walked slowly onto the podium with a darkened face. He held a piece of paper in his hand, seemingly a letter of self-criticism. He stood in front of the microphone, lowering his head, and remained silent for a long time. The students below began to murmur among themselves. What's going on? How could Zhao Feng be reflecting on his mistakes? He must have done something really serious. Right. Look at Lin Mo. She's so calm. This can't be related to her. Right. I stood in line with my classmates, expressionless as I looked at him on the podium. I know that, at this moment, it is more painful for him than being killed. For someone like him, who values face more than anything else. Bowing his head in front of the entire school is no different from a public execution. The head teacher urged from the side a couple of times, and Zhao Feng finally raised his head, casting a resentful glance in my direction, before reluctantly starting to read the script in his hand. Zhao Feng from Class 1 of Senior Year 3. Am here to make a profound self-reflection in front of all the teachers and students, especially towards Lin Mo. His voice was faint, filled with resentment and humiliation. I should not have, out of personal emotions, ruined Lin Mo's textbooks, scribbling all over her desk and causing her great distress and harm. I also should not have spread false statements that affected her reputation. My behaviors are wrong, immature, and constitute school bullying. With every word he uttered, his face darkened further. The playground was silent. Everyone was stunned by this magical scene. The once arrogant school bully is actually apologizing to me. I can feel countless gazes around me, filled with shock, curiosity, and inquiry, all focused on me. Those classmates who once despised and isolated me now look at me with completely changed eyes. They no longer see me as a cold-blooded monster, but as someone who dares to face off against Zhao Feng Heiden and even won. Zhao Feng's review was read in a stuttering manner, and after finishing, he almost ran off the podium like he was escaping. A farce thus came to an end, but everyone knew that the skies over the third middle school were about to change. I, Lin Mo, am no longer the soft dumpling that can be bullied by others. After the dismissal, I returned to the classroom. The classmates who had previously avoided me began to greet me cautiously. Lin Mo, good morning. I cleaned your desk for you. Someone even secretly placed a bottle of milk in the drawer of my desk. I looked at the bottle of milk, feeling not a trace of emotion. I knew that the goodwill of these people was not because they recognized their mistakes, but because they fear the strong. Such is human nature. I didn't respond to their gestures, nor did I refuse. I simply took out my book and started working on the problems. One more day closer to the college entrance examination. These boring people and matters aren't worth me wasting a single second on. However, I wanted peace and quiet. Yet there were those who wouldn't let me have it. After school, I was blocked at the school gate. It wasn't Zhao Feng, but Bai Wei. She wore a hat and a mask that concealed the injuries on her face. But those eyes that were exposed were filled with resentment and unwillingness. Lin Mo, are you satisfied? She stood in front of me, her voice hoarse. You made a fool of me, of Zhao Feng, of all of us. Aren't you feeling a great sense of achievement now? I looked at her, finding it somewhat amusing. Bai Wei, it was you and Zhao Feng who provoked me first. I'm merely taking back what belongs to me. Justice, she sneered. Is your justice built on our suffering? Do you know how humiliated Zhao Feng was today? Do you know how much my mom spent to smooth this over? How many people she begged? You destroyed us. I destroyed you. I felt as if I had heard the biggest joke. Bai Wei, have you forgotten that on the day of the fire, if I hadn't cold-heartedly chosen to protect myself, the one lying in the hospital barely alive would be me. If I hadn't fought back, the one suspended would be my dad. And the one bullied by the entire school would be me. Who exactly is destroying whom? You. She was left speechless by my words. Put away your victim theory. Bai Wei. I walked past her, moving forward. In this world, it's not about who cries that makes them right. You and Zhao Feng owe me. And this is just the beginning. Stop right there. She screamed behind me. Lin Mo, don't get cocky. Do you think you've won just like this? I'll tell you. It's not over. We'll see each other at the college entrance exam. I want you to know that no matter how unscrupulous you are, you will always be beneath my feet in this life. I stopped in my tracks and looked back at her. Under the setting sun, her figure was elongated, and in her eyes burned the flames of jealousy and madness. I suddenly laughed. All right, I said. I'll wait. In my last life, I lost to you. In this life, I will make you lose. Utterly and completely. The results of the monthly exam have come out. I unambiguously secured the top spot in my grade, with a clear advantage of 30 points over the second place. As soon as this result was announced, The entire senior year erupted. You see, the previous top student had always been Bai Wei. Although my grades are quite good, I've always been overshadowed by her, consistently ranking in the top 5 of our grade. This time, not only did I surpass her, but I also left her far behind. Bai Wei's grades dropped to 10th in the grade, her worst performance since high school. The report card is posted on the bulletin board. A red list, with my name shining at the very top, and Bai Wei's name was pushed down below. Looking dull and lifeless, I can imagine what her expression would be like when she saw this report card. Sure enough, that afternoon, I overheard her and her group of friends talking in the hallway. Wei Wei, don't be sad. Lin Mo must have cheated. When has she ever scored better than you? Exactly. She's been preoccupied with underhanded schemes lately. How could she possibly have time to study? She must have copied it. Let's go tell the teacher. We can't let her be so smug. Bai Wei didn't speak, but I could hear her stifled sobs. I leaned against the wall, a cold smile curling at the corners of my mouth. Cheating. They will never understand that for someone who has thoroughly digested all the knowledge points of the senior year and reviewed them again. This level of examination is as simple as breathing. In my previous life, although I missed the college entrance examination because I saved someone, my grades had already shown a tendency to surpass Bai Wei's before that. It was that great fire that interrupted my upward trajectory. In this lifetime, I have only taken back what rightfully belonged to me. Soon, rumors of cheating spread throughout the school. The rumors were detailed, claiming that I had bribed the teacher who printed the exam papers to get the test in advance. Teacher Chen also spoke to me, his expression serious. Lin Mo, there have been some rumors about you at school lately. You must have heard them. Right. I nodded. I've heard. Do you have anything to say about it? He pushed up his glasses and looked at me critically. The innocent will clear themselves. I only replied with 4 words. Teacher Chen frowned, clearly dissatisfied with my attitude. Lin Mo, I know you've faced some grievances lately and your mood isn't great, but studying does not allow for the slightest insincerity. If you really... Teacher Chen, I interrupted him. Do you think someone who sets the college entrance examination top scorer as their goal would stoop to cheating on a minor monthly test? My words left Teacher Chen speechless. Top scorer in the college entrance examination. He looked at me as if he were staring at a madman. Although the 3rd middle school is a key school in the city, it hasn't produced a provincial top scholar in many years. As a student who usually hovers around the top 5 in my grade, it seemed like a fantasy to suddenly declare that I wanted to be the top scholar. Lin Mo, having ambitions is a good thing, but you also need to be practical. Mr. Chen's tone softened a bit, carrying a hint of consolation. I'm very down to earth. I looked at him, my gaze calm and resolute. Teacher, rumors stop with the wise. If the school truly suspects me of cheating, feel free to arrange a retest at any time. In any subject. I'm ready for it all. My confidence and composure left Teacher Chen momentarily speechless. He waved his hand, allowing me to go back first. I knew he still harbored doubts in his heart. To dispel this doubt, mere words are not enough. I need an opportunity. An opportunity that will silence everyone. The opportunity soon arrived. The city was to hold an Olympic physics competition open to the entire province, with each school having 3 recommended spots. This is not only a reflection of personal honor but also an important bonus point for the college entrance exam's independent enrollment. In previous years, the slots from the 3rd high school were almost exclusively taken by Bai Wei and 2 other physics top students. This time, when the physics teacher announced this in class and habitually read out Bai Wei's name, I raised my hand. Teacher, I want to participate. The whole class looked at me, their expressions filled with disbelief. The physics teacher was also taken aback. Lin Mo, your physics grades are good, but this competition is very challenging. Bai Wei and the others have been preparing for a long time. The implication was clear. I had no chance. Teacher, I understand. I stood up and said respectfully yet firmly. So I propose to hold a public selection exam with Bai Wei and any other students who wish to participate. Whoever performs best will go. This way, it's fair for everyone. As soon as I finished speaking, Bai Wei's face turned pale in an instant. The girl next to her immediately stood up to retort. Why should that be? That spot was originally meant for Wei Wei. You're just looking for trouble. Exactly. Did you really think you were invincible just because you cheated to get first place? I paid no attention to their uproar, simply watching the physics teacher, waiting for his response. The physics teacher clearly seemed a bit troubled. He looked at me, then glanced at the pale-faced Bai Wei. Well, I need to discuss this with the school leadership. All right. I nodded and sat down. I'll wait for your news. I know the school will agree, because my scores in the monthly exams were too conspicuous. They also want to take this opportunity to verify my true level. At the same time, the open selection better reflects the school's fairness and justice. Bai Wei, didn't you say I cheated? Then I will give you a chance to see for yourself just how great the gap between us really is. This time, I will shatter the capital you take pride in right before everyone's eyes. The selection exam is scheduled for Friday afternoon. The location is our classroom, supervised personally by the head of the Academic Affairs Office. And the exam papers are encrypted papers prepared overnight by the city's Education Research Office. Far more difficult than the college entrance examination. In addition to me and Bai Wei, 3 other students with top physics scores signed up as well. A battle among 5 people is about to unfold. The news spread, causing a sensation throughout the entire senior class. This is no longer just a selection for competition slots, but rather a battle of dignity between Bai Wei and me. Almost everyone bets that Bai Wei will win. After all, she has won awards in physics competitions and is recognized as a talented girl. As for me, I'm just a sudden dark horse who is also burdened with suspicions of cheating. Just wait and see. Lin Mo is definitely going to be knocked back to her original form this time. Really, do you think you're a genius? The physics competition can't be won just by rote memorization. Go for it. Wei Wei. Show her who the real academic star is. I turned a deaf ear to these remarks. In the days leading up to the exam, I went about my routine as usual, attending classes, practicing problems, and going home. The heart is as calm as still water. Zhao Feng has indeed settled down a lot. Although his gaze towards me still seems venomous, he no longer dares to actively seek trouble with me. Perhaps the public reprimand last time made him lose face, and he doesn't have the courage to come out and be troublesome in the short term. On Friday afternoon, I arrived at the classroom 10 minutes early. There were only 5 desks arranged in the classroom, spaced far apart. The head teacher sat at the podium, her expression serious, like an unyielding judge. Bai Wei and 3 other classmates arrived one after another. Bai Wei had dressed up deliberately today, wearing a white dress, although she still wore a mask. Her eyes were filled with an air of determination and pride. She walked up to me, paused, and said in a voice only we could hear, Lin Mo, today, I will let you know what it means to bring shame upon yourself. I looked up at her, gave her a glance, and said lightly, let's wait and see. The exam bell rang. The test papers were distributed, and I quickly scanned them. There are a total of 8 major questions, covering all the knowledge points of force, heat, light, electricity, and atoms. And there is a lot of content beyond the syllabus that requires a college-level physics mindset to solve. It is indeed very difficult. But in my past life, in that dark and dreary rented room, my only pastime was reading. I finished all the physics and mathematics textbooks for college, and even self-studied quantum mechanics. Those profound theories and formulas are long engraved in my mind. The questions before me are nothing more than appetizers. I picked up my pen and began to answer the questions. The classroom was very quiet, with only the rustling sound of the pen gliding across the paper. I can feel the director of education's gaze lingering on me from time to time. Perhaps he wanted to see if I was making any little moves. An hour passed, and I put down my pen. 8 major questions, completed in full. I checked everything over, confirming there were no omissions. before standing up and handing in my paper. At the moment I stood up, everyone in the classroom was stunned, including the director standing at the podium. He looked at his watch, then at me. His eyes filled with disbelief. "You finished." "Finished." I nodded. Bai Wei also suddenly looked up, staring at me in disbelief. She had just completed the third question, and half of her steps were still stuck. The other 3 classmates were even more shocked. Their mouths agape, forgetting to move their pens. "Are you sure you don't want to check one more time? There's still plenty of time," the director reminded. "No, thank you, teacher." With that, I walked out of the classroom, under the astonished gazes of everyone. Outside the classroom, the sun was just right. I knew that the moment I submitted my exam, this war had already come to an end. The results came out the next day. The physics teachers graded the papers overnight. My score was a perfect score, a score of 100. The second place was taken by a boy who scored 65 points. Bai Wei only scored 48 points, coming in second to last. This result exploded throughout the entire school like a heavy bomb. Everyone has gone crazy. Full marks. Lin Mo scored full marks on that hellishly difficult exam. Oh my God. Is she even human? The physics teachers said that even a few of them working together might not be able to score full marks. This is not just a top student. This is simply a genius. Those who accused her of cheating. Do your faces hurt? She doesn't even look down on cheating. Okay. Bai Wei really made a fool of herself this time, scoring only 48 points, getting rubbed in the dirt by Lin Mo. The rumors fell apart on their own. With absolute strength, I crushed all doubts and criticisms. In front of the bulletin board, a crowd had gathered. Bai Wei also stood among the people, staring intently at the posted report card. Her body trembled slightly, her face as pale as paper. When she saw my score, the last traces of pride and confidence in her eyes completely shattered. She lost utterly. Her body battered and bruised. I walked past her without giving her a glance. For a defeated opponent, I didn't even have the interest to mock her. The spot for the Olympic physics competition undoubtedly fell to me. And this is just the second step of my counterattack. Bai Wei. Zhao Feng. The pain you brought me, I will repay it tenfold. I will take away everything you hold dear, so you can also taste the feeling of falling from the clouds into the mud. The victory in the physics competition brought about a dramatic change in my status at school. I transformed from a cold-blooded monster, a habitual cheater, into a study deity admired by everyone. Wherever I went, I could garner looks of awe and admiration. Those classmates who used to mock me now avoid me or squeeze out flattering smiles when they see me. Teacher Chen's attitude towards me took a complete turn. He no longer called me classmate Lin Mo, but affectionately referred to me simply as Lin Mo. Even publicly praising me in class and asking me to share my study experiences with my classmates. I refused. I had neither the time nor the interest to deal with such hypocritical flattery. My goal, from beginning to end, was only one: the college entrance examination. Bai Wei took a long sick leave after the selection examination. I heard that she was hit hard, in a poor mental state, and had been locking herself in her room all day. Lu Yufang was so anxious that she was at her wit's end and even asked someone to contact my mom, hoping I could go see Bai Wei and talk to her. My mom told me about this and cautiously asked for my thoughts. I directly refused. Mom, I'm not a psychologist, and I have no obligation to counsel someone who once wanted to destroy me. Last life, when I lay on the hospital bed, no one came to counsel me. My mom sighed and didn't say anything more. Zhao Feng has also calmed down a lot, probably warned by his dad, and dare not cause me troubles so openly anymore. But every time we run into each other in the corridor, the look in his eyes is like a poisoned knife, wishing he could carve out a few pieces of flesh from me. I don't care, just a petty clown. I no longer look at him with any significance. Days passed quietly as I tackled practice problems, and soon it was time for the first mock exam. This was the most important simulated exam before the college entrance examination. A unified citywide test with standardized rankings. Everyone was eager to find out how well I, the so-called study deity, could perform. Meanwhile, Bai Wei had also returned to school before the first mock exam. She has lost a lot of weight. Her face is haggard. And she is enveloped in a layer of gloomy aura. No longer the radiant school beauty. The look in her eyes when she looks at me is filled with a complex mix of hatred and unwillingness. I know she wants to reclaim what she has lost in the mock exam. Unfortunately, she no longer has the chance. As soon as the exam results were announced, I once again secured the first place in the city with an absolute advantage. A total score of 735 points. This score is not only unprecedented at Sanzhong, but also in the entire history of education in the city. As for Bai Wei, perhaps affected by previous blows, she was not in good form and only ranked 50 in the city. The once exalted daughter of heaven has completely fallen from grace. At the moment the results were announced, the entire school erupted. My name has become a new legend at Sanzhong. The principal personally awarded me a scholarship during the flag-raising ceremony, amounting to 50,000 yuan. He held my hand, his face flushed with excitement. Classmate Lin Mo. You are the pride of our Class 3, provincial champion. It's up to you this year to bring the title to our school. I held that thick stack of prize money. Yet my heart was completely unmoved. These belated honors and flattery held no meaning for me. What I truly cared about was something else. After the awards ceremony, I found the principal. Principal, I have something I would like to apply for. What is it? Go ahead. As long as the school can accommodate it, we will certainly satisfy you. The principal looked at me as if I were a treasure. I would like to apply to move out of my current dormitory and live alone. I said, my current dormitory is a 4-person room. And my roommates have been isolating and excluding me because of the previous fire incident. Although they don't dare to do anything openly now. The oppressive atmosphere makes me very uncomfortable. I need an absolutely quiet environment to prepare for the final college entrance exam. This, the principal said awkwardly. The school's dormitories are very tight, and there are no single rooms available. I know. I nodded. Isn't there an old, unused teacher's dormitory at the school? Right behind the library. There should be empty rooms there. I don't need anything fancy. Just a bed, a desk, and a quiet place to study. That old dormitory. I know it well. In my previous life. After failing the college entrance exam, I spent some time working there as a dormitory manager to make ends meet. The conditions were shabby, dark, and damp. It had long been uninhabited. But for me, it was the best choice. The principal didn't expect me to make such a request. He was taken aback for a moment, then emotionally said, Lin Mo, you truly move me, willing to endure such hardship for the sake of your studies. Great, I'll arrange it immediately. You'll move in today. Things went exceptionally smoothly. That afternoon, I moved into the old apartment. The room is small, only 10 square meters, with some peeling paint on the walls. But it is very clean. The school even specially provided me with a new bed and desk. I arranged my things neatly, and looking at this little space that belongs solely to me, I finally felt a sense of peace in my heart. From today on, I can finally completely rid myself of those distractions and devote myself wholeheartedly to the final sprint. However, just when I thought I could spend the last 20 days in tranquility, an unexpected guest showed up at my door. That night, I was working on a set of math problems under the light. Outside the door, there was a sudden knock. I was a bit puzzled. Who could it be at this late hour? When I opened the door and saw the person standing outside, I froze. It's Xiao Feng. He came alone. Without any entourage. He was dressed in a black tracksuit, standing in the dimly lit hallway, his face showing little expression, but his eyes were exceedingly complex. Is there something you need? I blocked the doorway and asked coldly. He was silent for a while. Then took something out of his pocket and handed it to me. It was a small, exquisitely packaged medicine bottle. What is this? I frowned. Scar remover. His voice was a bit hoarse. I got someone to buy it from abroad. They say it works really well. I was stunned. Scar removal. I instinctively glanced at my arm. In my past life, there was a grotesque burn scar on my arm, like an ugly centipede, having coiled around my existence for half of my life. But in this lifetime, I have never rushed into a fire, my arms as smooth as ever. Why did he give me scar cream? What do you mean? I watched him warily. Zhao Feng's gaze flickered for a moment, avoiding my eyes. It's nothing much. Just. Let's consider it an apology. He forcibly pressed the medicine bottle into my hand. What happened before was my fault. Once he finished speaking, he turned and ran away as if he feared I would refuse. He quickly vanished into the night. I held the cold medicine bottle, standing at the doorway, motionless for a long time. Zhao Feng sent me scar removal cream, and he even apologized to me. This is even more shocking and bizarre than when he made a self-criticism in front of the whole school. An absurd thought flashed through my mind. Could it be he has been reborn too? As soon as this thought emerged, I was startled myself. Impossible. Absolutely impossible. If he has also been reborn, how could he possibly treat me the same way as before? He should have stopped by way at the first opportunity, or rushed into the flames to save people. He should be filled with guilt and remorse towards me, rather than bullying and hatred. I shook my head, shaking off this absurd thought from my mind. Perhaps he simply had a moment of conscience. Or was it Bai Wei who sent him, trying to use this method to let me lower my guard? I glanced at the medicine bottle in my hand, my gaze growing colder by the moment. No matter what he intended, I would no longer trust him. I walked into the room, closed the door, and without hesitation threw the medicine bottle into the trash can. My life does not require anyone's apology. I will not forgive a single one of those who have hurt me. The college entrance examination has arrived as scheduled. I walked into the examination hall with an almost absolute calmness. The examination room was filled with a tense atmosphere, and the faces of each candidate were etched with seriousness. As for me, my heart was as calm as still water. The countless days and nights of the past year, with endless simulations and drills, had stripped away any trace of fear I had for this life-changing exam. All I needed to do was, like usual, accurately write down what was in my mind on the paper. Chinese, mathematics, English, comprehensive science. Exams were being held one after another. In an orderly manner, I answered smoothly, encountering almost no obstacles. When the final comprehensive science exam was finished and the bell for submitting papers rang, I didn't even feel a sense of relief. Everything has come to an end. Or rather, a new beginning is about to arrive. Stepping out of the examination room, there are anxious parents gathered outside. On their faces, anticipation and anxiety intertwine as they search for their child's figure in the crowd. I saw my parents. They stood under a large tree, on tiptoe, anxiously looking around. Upon seeing me come out, they immediately came over. "Mo, how did you do on the exam?" my mom asked nervously. "Not bad." I smiled and gave them a reassuring look. "Just do your best. And don't stress too much." My dad patted my shoulder. Though his eyes were a bit red, I knew that the pressure they had endured over the past year was no less than mine. On the way home, we didn't discuss the exam any further. The exams are over, and everything is set in stone. It is pointless to say more. The days that followed were a long and torturous wait. I didn't go to parties, travel, or indulge like the other students. I stayed at home every day, reading, listening to music, and occasionally accompanying my mom to the vegetable market. My heart is more peaceful than ever before. During this time, a small incident occurred. Zhao Feng came to find me once again, still downstairs at my house. He looked more haggard than last time, scruffy with stubble and his eye sockets deeply sunken. "Are you confident?" he asked me, his voice hoarse. I ignored him, trying to walk past, but he blocked my way. "Mo, He hesitated, his eyes filled with struggle and pain. "I'm sorry." Those 3 words he spoke with great difficulty. I stopped in my tracks, coldly staring at him. "I do not accept your apology." "I know." He smiled bitterly. "I'm not asking you to forgive me. I just wanted to tell you something. He took a deep breath, as if he had made up his mind about something. On the day of the fire. Actually, I was reborn too. My heart sank suddenly, although I had a premonition. I still felt a tremendous shock when he said it out loud. When I woke up, I was at the fire scene. I saw you, and I saw Bai Wei rushing into the warehouse. His voice trembled. In my past life, I did a lot of horrible things to you. I pushed you down the stairs. I cursed at you. After you saved Bai Wei, I even hit you. His eyes turned red. His voice choked. I regret it. Lin Mo. I truly regret it. In this life, I wanted to make amends. I wanted to save Bai Wei. I wanted to protect you. I wanted to treat you well, but I can't do it. He clutched his hair in anguish. When I saw the fire, I got scared. I didn't rush in my last life. And in this life, I'm still too afraid. I'm just a coward. I watched helplessly as my parents bullied you. As Bai Wei targeted you, and I could do nothing. I hate myself. He slapped himself hard. I silently watched him, a mix of emotions swirling inside me. So he was reborn too. It turns out, he really regretted it. But, so what? A late confession is worth less than grass. Moreover, his regret was merely due to his own inner torment, and not out of genuine concern for me. If he really wanted to make amends, he had countless ways to do so. He could have stood up for me when I was being bullied. He could have stopped his parents' behavior. He could have exposed Bai Wei's true nature. But he didn't. He chose to be a bystander. His cowardice and selfishness have never changed. From the last life to this one. Are you done? I asked coldly. He stared blankly and looked up at me. Once you're done, step aside. I bypassed him and went upstairs without looking back. Behind me, his stifled cries echoed. I did not turn back. Zhao Feng, your pain, your regret, have nothing to do with me. Between us, ever since that slap you gave me in the last life, we have settled everything. In this lifetime, we are like two parallel lines that will never intersect. My future lies ahead, bright and brilliant, and you just hold on to your regrets and rot in place. On the day the results were released, the phone at my house was about to be blown up. Teachers from the admissions offices of the city's education bureau, Tsinghua University, and Peking University, threw olive branches at me with the most enthusiastic and sincere tones. My score is 742, an undisputed provincial science top scorer. This score has broken the provincial highest score record in nearly a decade. I became a household name in our small town. The television station wanted to interview me. The newspaper wanted to feature me in a special edition. And various tutoring institutions were offering exorbitant sums for me to be their spokesperson. My parents were so excited they didn't know what to do. Grinning from ear to ear. They had been honest and upright their whole lives, never dreaming that one day they would bask in such glory because of their daughter. Relatives, neighbors, my parents' colleagues. Everyone rushed to my house to congratulate us. The threshold was almost worn down. Those who once gossiped about our family now wore the most obsequious smiles. Oh, old Lin, you really are fortunate. You've raised such a successful daughter. Momo has truly brought us honor. You should help out our kid more in the future. I looked at these hypocritical faces and felt nothing but irony. I locked myself in my room, shutting out all the noise from the outside world. I checked other people's scores online. Bai Wei scored 670 points, which is sufficient for an average 985 institution. But for her former self, it was undoubtedly a huge failure. I heard she locked herself in her room and cried for a whole day and night. Lu Yufang used all her connections, hoping to get her into Tsinghua or Peking University through independent admissions or other channels, but was turned down at every turn. The doors to Tsinghua and Peking University cannot be opened just because someone is wealthy. As for Zhao Feng, he only scored a little over 400 points, falling short of even the second-tier line. Given his family's conditions, repeating the year or going abroad is his only way out. I shut down the computer. feeling not a shred of pleasure in my heart. Their failure was anticipated long ago. This is nothing but the retribution they deserve. I ultimately chose Peking University, not because its majors are better, but simply because, in my last life, the place I dreamed of going was Peking University, that dream by the Weiming Lake. I have harbored for 10 years. In this life, I can finally make it come true with my own hands. The day before I was to attend the Top Scholar Award ceremony in the city, I received an unexpected phone call. It was by Wei calling. Her voice sounded very calm, no longer filled with the hysteria from before. Lin Mo, can we meet? No need. I refused outright. Just once. Her voice carried a hint of pleading. I'll wait for you at the playground after school. After saying that, she hung up the phone. I hesitated for a moment, but ultimately went. I don't want to forgive her. I just want to put a period at the end of this entanglement that has lasted 2 lifetimes. When I arrived, she was already there. She sat in the bleachers of the playground, dressed in a simple t-shirt and jeans, her face free of makeup. The glow of the setting sun cast a few shades of melancholy over her. You're here. She saw me and stood up. Get to the point. I don't have time. I stood a few meters away from her. She smiled wryly. You're still so unapproachable. The one qualified to say that isn't you. Her face paled, and she lowered her head, remaining silent for a long time. When she raised her head again, her eyes were already red. Lin Mo, I'm sorry. Another apology. I'm getting a little tired of listening to this. I know. It's pointless to say this now. She sniffed and said, I just want to tell you that I've given up. I won't repeat my studies. Nor will I go abroad. I've applied to a normal university in the South. And in the future, I might become a teacher. I was a bit surprised, given her temperament. I thought she would do anything to climb up. I'm tired. She seemed to see through my thoughts and gave a self-deprecating smile. This year, I've lived like a joke. I always thought I was the protagonist, that everyone should revolve around me. I'm jealous of you. Jealous of your achievements. Jealous of your calmness. Even jealous of the way Xiao Feng looks at you. Only when I was utterly defeated did I realize I am nothing. I'm just an ordinary person, both foolish and vain, spoiled by my parents. Lin Mo, you're right. In this world, it's not about who cries and who is justified. I apologize to you for what I've done in the past. Although, you may never forgive me. She bowed deeply to me. I watched her quietly, without speaking. Forgiveness. I will not forgive. But I also do not want to hate anymore. Hating someone is too exhausting. Good luck. I left those 4 words and turned to leave. Lin Mo. She called out to me from behind. I stopped in my tracks but did not turn back. Thank you, she said. Thank you for helping me see myself clearly. I didn't respond again and walked straight out of the school gates. The story between Bai Wei and me ends here. Our lives will no longer intersect in any way. Some people are destined to be mere passers-by in each other's lives, while some Piopi Lu are not even worthy of being called passers-by, but rather just stumbling blocks that need to be cleared away. The Provincial Top Scholar Award ceremony was held at a 5-star hotel in the provincial capital. The event was grand and solemn. Leaders from the province, presidents of major universities, well-known entrepreneurs, and countless media reporters gathered together. As the top graduate in science, I sat in the front row alongside the top graduate in arts. The flashes of cameras kept going off, nearly blinding me. The leaders took turns speaking on stage, and their content was nothing but clichés. I felt a bit drowsy. Finally, it was time for the top scholar to speak. The top scholar in the humanities was a bespectacled boy, refined and eloquent. His speech was rich in literary flair and laden with quotations, earning thunderous applause from the audience. Then, it was my turn. I didn't prepare a speech. I walked up to the microphone, looking at the crowd below. A sea of faces filled with admiration, curiosity, and inquiry. Suddenly, I felt a bit dazed. In my past life, I had also fantasized about such a scene, imagining myself standing in the spotlight, sharing the joy of success. But the reality is, I can only look up at the glory of others from my dark corner. The host smiled and asked me, Lynn Mo, as this year's provincial science champion, do you have any exclusive study tips you can share with everyone? Everyone perked up their ears, eagerly awaiting my champion's wisdom. I fell silent for a few seconds, then slowly began to speak. My secret is really very simple. It's to always choose the path that is most beneficial to oneself at the crossroads of life. My words brought a hush over the audience. Everyone was stunned, clearly not expecting me to say such a pragmatic thing. The host felt a bit awkward and quickly tried to smooth things over. Hee, Lynn Mo, you really speak your mind. What you mean is to have clear goals and stay focused. Right? No. I shook my head, staring directly at a camera in the audience, knowing that it was broadcasting live. What I mean is, when kindness and your future are laid out before you, and you have to choose one, please choose your future without hesitation. My words landed like a stone thrown into a calm lake, creating ripples that stirred up 1,000 waves. The audience began to murmur, "What's going on with this top scholar? Why would he say something like that? Isn't that too extreme? Doesn't kindness matter?" Today's kids are becoming more and more realistic. The expression on the provincial leader's face was not very pleasant either. The host was so anxious that sweat broke out on his forehead, desperately trying to signal me, but I did not stop. I knew that what I was about to say might bring me immense controversy, but I have to say, this is not just for myself, but also for Lynn Mo from my past life, whose entire life was ruined by the word kindness. A year ago, there was a fire at my school. At that time, one of my classmates was trapped inside. Everyone blamed me, saying I was cold-blooded, that I watched someone die and did nothing. My voice, amplified through the microphone, clearly resonated throughout the entire venue and reached countless households in front of their televisions. They said I should rush in and save her, even if I would get burned myself, miss the college entrance examination, and ruin my own life. Because kindness is a virtue. But I want to ask everyone. My gaze swept across each astonished face in the audience. What if I told you that in another life where I had no choice, I really did rush in? I saved her. Yet I ended up with a lifelong disability, failed my college entrance exam, and lived in poverty. And the person I saved, along with her family and friends, instead criticized me for not saving her well enough, showing not an ounce of gratitude, and even mocking me during my darkest times. So, what is the significance of my kindness? What has my sacrifice accomplished? The entire venue was deathly silent. Everyone was stunned by my mad raving. They looked at me, their eyes filled with shock and confusion. I know they don't believe it. They would only think, perhaps this top student is under too much pressure and has gone insane. I stand here today not to accuse anyone, nor to seek sympathy. I just want to tell all the young people who, like me, have been or are currently confused by kindness. Kindness should never be an unconditional self-sacrifice. Your kindness must have a hint of sharpness. On the premise of protecting yourself, extend a helping hand to others. If you cannot protect yourself, then your kindness is nothing but foolishness that feeds the hungry wolf. I became the top scholar not because I am smarter than others, but because, in the face of that great fire, I chose to save myself. My life is my own to lead. My future is more important than anyone else's life. Having said that, I took a deep bow to the audience. Then, amid the deathly silence of the crowd, I stepped down from the podium. I knew that from this moment on, I, Lynn Mo, would become the biggest controversial topic in the province and even the country. Some would call me selfish, cold-blooded, a refined egotist. Some will support me, saying that I live with clarity, awakened to the world. But none of this matters anymore. What I wanted to say has already been said. In this moment, all the grievances, unwillingness, and pain of the Lynn Mo from my past life have been released. I sought justice for her. That's all it takes. My comments indeed stirred up a storm online. Provincial top student claims future is more important than life. Refined egoism or awakening in the world. Valedictorians controversia. L remarks on fire. Dazzling topics rapidly surged to the top of trending searches. In the comments section, arguments erupted relentlessly. Those who support me believe that I dare to speak the truth, tearing away the hypocritical veil of society's tender feelings. You hit the nail on the head. Why should I sacrifice my own life for someone else's mistakes? Let the saints go to hell. This sister is so cool. She lives with clarity. Isn't the story of the farmer and the snake common enough? Protecting yourself should always come first. Only those who have experienced being hijacked by kindness can truly understand how piercing her words are. Those who oppose me criticize me fiercely, calling me cold-blooded and selfish. With a warped worldview, unworthy of being at the top of my class. After reading so many books, have they all gone to waste? They don't even have the most basic sense of empathy. If people like this become officials in the future, what will happen then? A typical social Darwinist. What she refers to as another life. Isn't that just an excuse for her to not help those in need? It's absolutely disgusting. Public opinion online has split into two extremes, causing a huge uproar. Various experts and influencers have stepped in, interpreting and criticizing my statements from the perspectives of psychology, sociology, and ethics. Suddenly, I became a figure at the center of controversy. My parents were extremely worried, constantly glued to their phones and the TV, fearing they would see any negative remarks about me. Silently, why did you have to say those things back then? My mom was so worried she couldn't even eat. Mom, I just said what I wanted to say. I calmly reassured her. It's fine. In a few days no one will remember. I know that the internet has no memory. These noises will soon be replaced by new trends. However, the developments exceeded my expectations. Just as public opinion was reaching its peak, a netizen posted a message in the forum of my alma mater, San Zhong, regarding the truth about the provincial top student Lin Mo's fire incident. I have a few fair words to say. The poster claimed to be an ordinary student from San Zhong, and he detailed everything I went through at school after the fire incident occurred, from Zhao Feng's bullying, to Bai Wei's framing, and then to the isolation and exclusion from the entire school's faculty and students. The post was written in great detail, with several secretly taken photos attached, one showing murderer written on my desk, and another showing Zhao Feng making a self-criticism in front of the whole school. Lin Mo never defended herself at any point. She simply endured everything silently, and then, with irrefutable achievements time and again, slapped everyone in the face. She said her future is more important than others' lives. And you think she's cold-blooded. But when everyone is using moral coercion against her, who has thought about her future, her life? What she referred to as another life might just be a metaphor. But isn't what she has endured in this life already cruel enough? A girl who was cornered by everyone, rose up against despair and became the top scholar. Instead of admiring her resilience and strength, you seize on her one statement and condemn her to death. Is this fair? This post acted like a deep-sea bomb, instantaneously igniting the internet. The content of the post was quickly picked up by major media outlets. The tide of public opinion began to quietly turn. People started to realize what kind of unknown past was hidden behind my astonishing remarks. What the hell? So there's this kind of insider information. Becoming the top scholar is really not easy. School bullying. It's school bullying again. That guy named Xiao Feng and Bai Wei. Aren't they going to step forward for a bit? I take back what I said to her earlier. I'm sorry, sister. You're not cold-blooded. You were forced into this. So, the another life she mentioned is actually an artistic expression of her experience being bullied. Oh my God. That's so heartbreaking. Soon, the all-powerful netizens dug up the identities of Zhao Feng and Bai Wei. Zhao Feng's father is a contractor, and Bai Wei's mother is an executive at a certain company. Their various misdeeds at school were fully exposed. Zhao Zhengwo's threats to the school and the oppression of my parents were also revealed by insiders. In no time, the Zhao family and the Bai family became like rats crossing the street, with everyone calling for their downfall. Zhao Zhengwo's company was found to be involved in tax evasion and engineering quality issues, and soon it was under investigation. Bai Wei's mother's company also faced a serious public relations crisis due to negative news, causing its stock price to plummet. As for me, I transformed from a cold-blooded top student into a model of a strong and tragic woman making a comeback. My earlier words were reinterpreted as a declaration of independence, resisting moral coercion and pursuing personal value. I watched the constantly reversing news on the computer, feeling no waves in my heart. None of this was in my plans. But this outcome is something I'm glad to see. Good and evil will eventually be rewarded. In my last life, they owed me. In this life, they've repaid me with interest. Just then, my phone rang. It was an unfamiliar number. I answered the call, and a voice that was both familiar and strange came through. Lin Mo. It's me. It's Xiao Feng. His voice sounded tired and desperate. My dad has been arrested. Our family. It's all over. I know. This is all you're doing. There was a tremor in Xiao Feng's voice, making it hard to tell whether it was anger or fear. You had planned this long ago, hadn't you? From the moment you spoke those words at the recognition ceremony, you were scheming. You deliberately guided public opinion, stirring up netizens to dig into our past. You wanted to ruin us. I stayed silent, quietly listening to his accusations. Lin Mo, you have such a ruthless heart. He nearly yelled. I admit, in the last life we wronged you, but in this life, I never intended to harm you. I even wanted to protect you. Why are you so hell-bent on destroying everything? Protect me. I finally spoke, my voice as cold as ice. Xiao Feng, your so-called protection is just standing by while your parents corner me until I have no way out. It's staying silent when Bai Wei and everyone in the school blame me. It's giving me a bottle of scar cream that you know I won't use, just to satisfy your own cheap guilt. Your protection is worthless. On the other end of the line, there was a prolonged silence. I could hear his heavy breathing and suppressed sobs. He wanted to say something but couldn't get the words out. Xiao Feng, you and your dad, Bai Wei and her mom. You are all the same kind of people. Selfish, hypocritical, always thinking only of yourselves. Your retribution is something you brought upon yourselves, and it has nothing to do with me. I have never planned anything. I just choose to walk my own path. It is you, time and again, who rushes into the barrel of my gun. If I really did something, the only thing I did was to stop being as foolish as I was in the last life. After saying that, I hung up the phone. I dragged him into the blacklist. Between him and me, there is no longer anything to say. A few days later, I received the admission letter from Peking University. The bright red cover, the golden embossed letters, heavy and substantial. My parents held the acceptance letter, flipping it over and over, tears of joy welling up in their eyes. Seeing their happy faces, I finally felt a genuine sense of joy in my heart. In my last life, I let them down for half a lifetime. In this life, I can finally make them proud of me. The day before going to Beijing, I returned to Sanzhong. I wanted to see that old apartment where I had lived for 20 days. The campus was very quiet, as the students were on vacation. I walked to the old apartment building but saw a familiar figure. It was that quiet boy with glasses, who secretly sent me a set of notes when my whole class isolated me. I remember his name was Su Yang. He was crouching by the flower bed downstairs, feeding a few stray cats. Seeing me, he froze for a moment, stood up a bit awkwardly, and adjusted his glasses. Lin Mo, you are back. I nodded. What about you? Haven't gone home yet? My home is nearby. He scratched his head. I volunteered at the library during the summer break. We were both momentarily silent, the atmosphere a bit awkward. Well, he started. Congratulations. You got into Peking University. Thank you. I said. What about you? How did you do? I got into Fudan. He said somewhat shyly. That's great too. Another silence fell. That post in the forum. I looked at him and suddenly asked, did you post it? He was taken aback. His face turned crimson, and his gaze darted away, unable to meet mine. I just thought they shouldn't say such things about you. You're not that kind of person. he said softly. My heart was gently stirred by something. It turned out to be him. When I was surrounded by the malice of the entire world, it was he who quietly held up an umbrella for me. Thank you, I said to him seriously, looking him in the eye. This is the first time in my life that I genuinely say thank you to someone. No need to thank me. He felt even more embarrassed under my gaze, his face turning as red as an apple. I didn't do anything. I smiled and didn't say anything more. Some thanks don't need to be spoken. I'm leaving, I said. If fate allows, we will meet again. He nodded, mustering up his courage, looking up at me. Lin Mo, once you get to Peking University, you also have to keep shining. I will. I waved to him and turned to leave. In the setting sun, my shadow stretches long. I didn't look back, but I knew he was still there, watching me. A lot happened this summer. My life took a complete turn in another direction. Some people are forever left in the past, while others may perhaps meet again at some crossroads in the future. But no matter what, I know that my path lies ahead. A bright and open road. One that belongs solely to me. The train bound for Beijing travels smoothly along the tracks. The scenery outside the window rushes past, like old film abandoned by time. I lean against the window, watching the unfamiliar cities and countryside outside, feeling a sense of tranquility within. I didn't have my parents see me off. Just me, a suitcase, embarking on this new journey. The carriage was lively, mostly filled with students like me who were headed to universities in other cities. Along with their parents seeing them off, on their faces, there was a blend of anticipation for the future and the sadness of parting. Next to me sat a girl with her mother. The girl had been crying, while her mother continually comforted her, wiping away her tears and handing her water. Take good care of yourself at school. Remember to eat on time, and put on more clothes when it gets cold. If you're short on money, just tell mom. Don't let yourself suffer. Get along well with your classmates and don't argue with anyone. The trivial reminders were filled with a mother's concern and love. I listened quietly, somewhat lost in thought. In my past life, I never had the chance to experience all of this. My life had already ended prematurely in that great fire before the college entrance examination. In this life, I have finally reclaimed the life that belongs to me. I got into the best university, and I am about to embark on a brand new chapter of my life. I have gotten revenge on all those who have hurt me, making them pay the price they should. I have become the strong, aware, and not to be messed with Lin Mo in the eyes of others. But am I really happy? I don't know. All I know is that my heart, like a dry well, no longer stirs any ripples. I will no longer easily trust anyone, nor will I harbor any unrealistic fantasies about this world. I am like a warrior clad in thick armor, warding off everything from the outside while also shutting down all of my own emotions. The train entered a long tunnel. The carriage instantly darkened, with only faint emergency lights casting a dim glow. I looked at my reflection on the window, pale, indifferent, with a gaze devoid of any warmth. This is me, Lin Mo, a person who crawled back from hell, a person who would go against the entire world for the sake of their own life. I won, but it seems I also lost something in the process. Perhaps this is the price of rebirth. The train emerged from the tunnel, and light flooded back into the carriage. I squinted, adjusting to the sudden brightness. In the distance, on the horizon, was the outline of Beijing. My university, my future, are all there. I took a deep breath and leaned back in my chair. Everything in the past has come to an end. No matter what I lost, no matter what kind of person I have become, the journey must go on. I am no longer the pitiful Lin Kulian who needed saving. Nor am I the paranoid obsessed with revenge. From today on, I am just Lin Mo, an ordinary, first-year student at Peking University. My life will be rewritten by me, stroke by stroke. The outcome, whether good or bad, I shall bear it myself. The train slowly pulls into Beijing West Station. I wheeled my suitcase and merged into the surging crowd. Stepping out of the station, the September sunlight in Beijing was warm but not scorching, casting its rays upon me. I looked up at the azure sky and let out a long, deep breath. Beijing. Here I come.